Anthony Adebayo. We off the record. Scotty B. We off the record. And the most accurate sports coverage. We off the record. Scotty B's Fantasy 5. We off the record. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. We off the record. Anthony Adebayo. We off the record. And the most accurate sports coverage. We off the record. Scotty B's Fantasy 5. We off the record. We off the record.
We're different from any other sports show.
Whoa.
Welcome.
Oh man,
I got
awesome. Hey, that was awesome how you did that. I was just sitting there looking at them pictures. That's what we looked like before COVID.
For real, man. God,
man. Wow.
I can't wait to get to a bar. Listen, I'll never take another barber for granted ever in my life again. Ever.
Look, my barber, he's charging $100 for house calls, right?
Oh nah.
So he's got $50 travel fee, and then he's got $50 to cut your hair, and then it's $30 for children. I said I had dreads before I pay that, but you know what? Today it gets more attempted.
Nah. No way, Jose. No way in the world. That's crazy. $130 for no.
Yeah.
And he lived right up the street from you.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Travel time. I was like, hold on, brother. I'm at risk here. I don't know.
Right. Exactly.
But,
exactly.
If you're social distancing or anything like that, and I know it's got to be a market. I mean, I should be able to get a cut for the low.
You should, yeah. I mean, he ain't got his regular customers, so I mean, the shop is closed.
Right. Shop is closed. Like, yo, I'm trying to help you out.
he don't see it that way, but
no.
What's good, man? What's good? It was week 3. We remote.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is until we get some sort of clarity. Then I mean, we here. This is where we at.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any clarity for a while. I think we're in the heart of it right now, and it's definitely. I mean, like you said last week, it's going to pass and things are going to get better. But right now, as far as like conducting business as usual, that's out the window. This is going to impact us like 9/11.
Yeah.
It's going to change the way we do business, the way we conduct ourselves, and just life as we know it, you know?
True. All right. So, before we even start talking sports, let's give a shout out to the healthcare workers, the sanitation folks, the post office people that got to work in grocery stores. Yeah, shout out to y'all because y'all all.
Everybody that's essential, man.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like a lot of businesses and a lot of people you think aren't essential, but then you think like if they weren't doing their job or they wasn't showing up, and I know the temptation, and they've got to be just as scared because they're coming in contact with, I mean, just hundreds and thousands of people a day, you know, just servicing them. So definitely kudos and shout out to them.
All right, so where you trying to start, man?
So I wanted to start with the Hall of Fame. We got the Hall of Fame ballot.
And for basketball.
For basketball, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Rudy, Tamika Catchings. Arguably the best Hall of Fame class. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a class better. And I think it's mainly because we saw these guys get drafted. Like we saw them get drafted and we saw their entire careers from start to finish. And I mean, we knew Kobe was going to be there this year. I think we knew pretty much all of them were going to get in this year. And the accomplishments that they all have, it's going to be hard it's going to be hard to top, where they get in. I mean, the top this class. You will probably have to have a LeBron, and I mean, at this point, LeBron and D Wade aren't going to get in at the same time. So, because D Wade is clearly going to get in earlier, but I honestly, I don't know. I don't know how you top a class like this.
I think it would be even tough for let's say, just for clarity, Carmelo Anthony, D Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh.
Right.
I think at this point that might be the only class that, and I don't even know if they top it. I mean, you could argue either way. I mean, you look at Kobe Bryant, which, I mean, no matter how you rate it, some people say the greatest two guard. I personally think Jordan, but
yeah,
I mean, but there's people out there that think Kobe Bryant was better than Michael Jordan, and I mean, it's a debate.
It's not a debate. It's not a debate. It's not a debate.
It's not a debate in my eyes, but there's people out there that will make that case. I've heard dumber stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
at this point, it's an argument. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Kobe Bryant has a cult following, and when you run across some of them Kobe Bryant fans, I mean, you can't tell them anything.
Right.
Tim Duncan, arguably, could be considered the best power forward of all time.
Okay.
If you stack up his resume, I mean, 5 championships. Well, it's 11 championships if you add them all together with Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett. But the big fundamental, I mean,
he has 4 or 5.
He's got 5.
He has 5. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure. I think he has 5, man.
I didn't know. Okay. Yeah. Well, in that case, then yeah. I mean, I wouldn't argue him being the best. Him being the best power forward of all time, but there's an argument because you still have Karl Malone, and yes, Karl Malone doesn't have the championships, but I mean, Karl Malone played the defense. Karl Malone clearly could score.
So let me put you on the spot, though. Okay, so do you think the Karl Malone, Tim Duncan comparison for like best power forward is a lot closer argument than Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan?
Absolutely. No, wait, what? It's not close. Listen, Kobe is not. No, it's not close. I don't know why. No. That is closer. The argument for best power forward is because you still have Barkley, and honestly, I would put Barkley over Karl Malone. Me personally, I would have Barkley over Karl Malone. I would take Barkley before I take Karl Malone.
So when I think of Karl Malone, I think of like consistency. I'm not saying that Charles Barkley wasn't consistent. I would just say just that longevity. With Karl Malone, I didn't really see a decline until he went to the Lakers. With Barkley, it was more of a peak and valley to where, like, I think he was at the top of his career when he was at Phoenix. He had a lot of really good years with the 76ers. He had good years with Houston, but then you saw the Barkley that was ready to come off the bench, and the Barkley that really
he was done. He was old by that time. Yeah. I mean, he was just at that point he was chasing the ring, and they had the squad, in Houston to get back to the finals, but they ended up losing to Utah.
So let me ask you this: where do you put Dirk?
Ooh.
Because where do you put Dirk, and then where do you put Kevin Garnett? Because one thing with Kevin Garnett that's going to go unnoticed in this is when he faced up against Tim Duncan early on in their career, he used to put in work. Now, he didn't have the accolades, but some argue that he didn't play on good teams in Minnesota.
Yeah. Duncan definitely had a crew behind him. He always had a better coach. He was always in a better system, better organization, all of that. So,
it's tough to really say. Like you said,
I would say top five.
Yeah, resume wise, okay, it's Tim Duncan. Yeah, you could throw McHale somewhere in that argument, and I'm sure I'm leaving off some power forwards.
Right.
I don't know if would you put Weber in that bunch? See,
well, Weber had game, but nah.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Weber there. I think Weber would be like in the next tier. Like I definitely think that Chris Webber is a Hall of Famer, but I don't know if you would necessarily line him up with Tim Duncan or Kevin Garnett. Same with Rasheed Wallace. I think he's kind of right here.
So I have I got a question from some. I just got a text and they said, would you consider Dirk a power forward? And I would say, yeah, he was just a stretch four. I mean, he was the birth of the stretch four.
I would consider him a power forward. And what I'm thinking of is it was a golden era in my eyes of the power forwards. Mm-hmm. And that was when you had Tim Duncan, Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber, Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki. You even throw probably Karl Malone. I can't leave Karl Malone out. Antonio McDyess was putting up pretty good numbers kind of around that era.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be a big fan of Antonio McDyess.
Friends. It was what I'm getting at is, and I'm not saying that Ray with Friends or Antonio McDyess should be in that conversation. What I'm saying is there was a point in NBA history to where if you were a power forward, you had to match up against a legitimate power forward on
night in, night out.
Night in, night out. I'm not going to say every team had a good power forward, but a lot of teams, if they didn't have a good center, like if you wasn't facing a Shaq or Olajuwon, they had a good power forward. And those guys had to match up against each other, like Kevin Garnett, like it was no nights off,
right?
And Weber makes this argument, and I have to agree with him. When he had to play the top power forwards, he put in work.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. I mean, see, I think the thing with Weber was, I think he. Had they had, because they had a pretty good team, a decent team in Golden State. I think like his second year, I believe it was. But once he got to DC, that's when he was at the top of his game. He was a little older, and he was playing with Juwan Howard. So I mean, and so he had some weapons around him. Again, they ran into the Bulls, but they weren't like, that wasn't an easy out for the Bulls. Yeah, they got swept, but it's not like the Bulls smoked them each game. It was one of those. I can see this team taking a step forward, but they didn't do it because of injuries and things of that nature.
See, I would argue the better team that he played on was those Sacramento Kings with
absolutely
Jackson, Stojakovic, Turkoglu, Lottie Divac, a little bit later with Brad Miller.
No, I agree with that.
Those teams, Mike Bibby, I can't believe Doug Christie. Those were really good teams.
But at that point, Weber was older. He was older when he was in. If you take the team that they had in DC, when they had, like you said, Rod Strickland, Juwan Howard, because Juwan Howard was still, I guess you could say he was in his prime in DC. And if that team stays together and stays healthy, I'm not saying that they win in the East, but they're giving those top teams in the East some problems.
So here's the deal about that team. And, that was kind of like my intro to like the Northern Virginia area. That team wasn't well coached. I can't remember who the. So the thing about that team was they just like you saw Weber taking a lot of threes and seemed like he was just unmotivated to
Right.
play in DC. I mean, that's just my interpretation. Now, statistically, I'm sure he put up just as good as numbers in DC. But when he got traded to Sacramento, I think that revived like his career. Like when him and I left off Jason Williams when they first got together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was dynamite. But those Portland teams, I mean, those were tough teams with Rasheed Wallace on them. Brian Grant, Jermaine O'Neal is another good power forward that I left off. So now definitely that era had good power forwards, great power forwards. I don't think you'd see a better era. I like to think of the early 2000s, like late 98, 99 to about 2006. You had the golden era in two guards, and you had the golden era in power forwards. And I think this Hall of Fame class is you take the top two guard of that class, which is Kobe Bryant, and you got the two best power forwards of it. And then that's why you end up with this Hall of Fame class.
All right. I mean, and some you're gonna have an argument for Dirk. In the
have to put Dirk in there.
You have an argument. You're gonna have so let me ask you this, because this has been a question for like the last maybe 5-6 years. Chris Webber, and I know you brought him up, but he's still not in the Hall of Fame. Does Chris Webber deserve to be a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why is he not in there?
I think when you just look at like his resume, not me. If I had to vote, I would vote him in. But I think the glaring part of it is he didn't get a championship, and I think Chris Webber, if he wasn't on TV, if he would be kind of lost in the sauce.
I don't know about that. Because people don't forget about the Fab Five, and he was the main guy on the Fab Five.
He was, but that era is starting to like
get old.
Yeah. No, now what I'm saying is like, and I've always made this argument, like when you're on TV, people, you're fresh in their mind, right?
Right.
So, but if he was just a fade, like let's say he would just retired and was like, you know what, I'm out. Like Karl Malone. I mean, what is Karl Malone doing? He's probably somewhere hunting or driving tractor trailers, or
right.
I don't know what he's doing. But until like you just brought up, like, well, you know what, Karl Malone might be the greatest power forward of all time. Mm-hmm. Is Karl Malone really at the forefront of everybody's mind? You know what I mean? True basketball fans still,
right?
But just and even the significance of Chris Webber. You know what I mean? A lot of people have moved out of that age to where they don't remember those Sacramento King teams. They don't remember how dominant and how that team really almost, I don't want to say if they beat the Lakers that first year,
history is totally different.
History would be totally different.
Mm-hmm. You'll have because I mean, did that series go 7? I think that series went 7, and the Portland series went 7.
The one thing that sticks out to me about Chris Webber and why he's a Hall of Famer in my book is if you ever look at his interaction with players that played with him during that time, everybody gives Webber respect.
Absolutely.
Like just watch Shaq's interaction when he talked to Webber. You know, Shaq, he don't respect nobody unless you put in. No, real talk. Shaq be like, nah, that was barbecue chicken.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
If you ain't put the work in, Shaq is not gonna. He's not. Yeah,
no, he is not. Nah. But Shaq always give Webber props. Always. Right. Everybody, Reggie Miller, like all the vets always talk up. Nah, Webber was dominant. Nah, he was that boy. He was that good. So I'm not saying that that's criteria to get in the Hall of Fame, but definitely should mean a lot more. And I would like to see him get in.
All right, last Hall of Fame question before we move on. Tim Hardaway. So Tim Hardaway is of course is not in the Hall of Fame yet. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think basketball's Hall of Fame is the easiest to get into, but Tim Hardaway should be in there. He's put in work.
So let me ask you this, right? No, I'm just asking a question. Okay, so first, I agree.
Mhm.
Tim Hardaway is one of my favorite players of all time. I mean, you can't deny, and we've had this debate over who had the best crossover. You know, what I mean,
Right.
Iverson. I think Tim Hardaway had the best crossover. He had a sick crossover. But what are Hardaway's career statistics?
I mean, I would have to look him up, but
No, but I mean, and I don't know him offhand.
That shouldn't matter because he's been a star in the league. I mean, because that's like asking what's Carmelo's what's his statistics.
So here's the thing, right? All right, so when he was at Golden State,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just a bird eye view of watching his career.
Mm-hmm.
He balled out, but he was hurt a lot when he was
Okay.
in Golden State. When he was with the Heat, he balled out. You know what I mean? Like he gave the Knicks. I mean, he could shoot when he got hot. I mean, Tim Hardaway was a joy to watch.
Okay.
But
here you go. They go to the butt.
But to make this argument, I would have to look up his stats. The eye test, Tim Hardaway put in work.
I mean, he was a 5-time All-Star. He was a 5-time All-NBA, 1989-90 All-Rookie team. He averaged a career 17.7 and 8 assists. Sounds like Hall of Fame. That sounds like Hall of Fame to me. Yeah, that sounds like Hall of Fame to me. So
what are they working on?
All right, so you know he made the anti-gay statements.
I remember
that he doesn't like gays, and
that was at least 15 years ago.
I mean, yeah, but he made look, I don't know, and I don't even know what his stance is now, and
it was a different time period now. You know what I mean? Not saying that it was ever acceptable to even make those comments, but back then, people wasn't as socially conscious as him. And he was checked and he was taken off of TV, and I'm pretty sure he apologized. I can't recall.
Did he? He stuck to his guns.
He did?
No. I don't know. I'm just joking. I was trying to look it up while you was talking, but
it was a long time ago though. That wasn't that recent.
Yeah, well, I mean,
when was it? It was like probably around 2006, maybe 2005.
I mean, we'll look it up. But yeah. So he never apologized.
He never apologized.
Yeah. So they say he never apologized. So I mean,
well,
they gonna hang that over your head, man.
Should they?
I mean, I don't think so, but I mean,
because
we've seen
making a racist comment,
huh?
I said it's equivalent as making a racist comment.
Yeah. And
I mean, I just said I just said it was a different time period, but it's never been acceptable to make comments like that. It's just
so wait. So I stand corrected. I just looked it up, and it says he has a longer tone for his remarks, apologizing and since becoming an advocate for the LGBTQ community, doing the work behind the scenes and out front. But it seems to remain a hurdle in his chances of getting into the Hall of Fame. So I mean, he apologized. So yeah, he apologized, and he's an advocate. He's an advocate for the LGBTQ community. So
yeah, I think all you can do is apologize. I mean, once you say something, it's out.
Right.
It's out in the universe. Like you can't take it back. But if he's grown from it, and we're not talking about something that happened last year or 2 years ago. I mean, this has at least been a decade ago. You know, so I mean, at some point, we got to forgive him and move on. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
All right, and we're talking about Tim Hardaway, and if he should be a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, I agree. I think he should be a Hall of Famer. I think he will eventually get in. When? Only time will tell.
So I got one for you, Chris Bosh.
Chris Bosh will be absolutely. Without a question, Chris Bosh will be in the Hall of Chris Bosh I don't know when he officially retired. I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago.
Eligible now, I think.
I don't think he's that eligible because Chris Bosh was because he didn't retire for a while. I think the year before last is when he retired. The reason being because the year he retired is when they retired his jersey in Miami.
Okay, I thought he was eligible. I thought he was one of the snubs this year.
No, I don't think so. But he'll definitely be a Hall of Famer. He'll definitely be a Hall of Famer. You don't think so?
I think it's out there. He had some good years with the Raptors. He sacrificed a lot for his game. He got the chips. So he had a pretty decent career in Miami. This is the thing about basketball. It seems to never really be a set. You have to do this, and this is how you get in. I think it depends. Okay, so if you had to pick one, Bosh or Weber, who do you pick?
Well, I would probably pick Bosh because he got the only thing that separates them is the championships.
See, and I go Weber.
Why?
Because I feel like Weber played in a different era to where he was almost forced to be the star. And
Weber was the number one pick. He better be the star. He was the number one pick.
Yeah, he played in the era to where he was the blockbuster guy. He was the franchise guy. And a lot of guys, like, you even see it with Kevin Garnett until Kevin Garnett was like, you know what? Y'all got to get me out of here in Minnesota. He was loyal to a fault. He stayed with that organization for 13 years. He had a lot of guys that didn't do like a lot of their teaming up. And I get it. I understand why they do some of the teaming up, but we shouldn't penalize that guys that played in different era to where you just didn't do it. You couldn't do it. They didn't have control over their careers like they do now. You know, like you see players now, they're starting to pick. I mean, you look at Kevin Durant, as quiet as it's kept, time will go on and people will I won't say forget, but it's not going to be as big of a deal of him joining a 73 win team.
Oh no, I think that kind of like went away, but that reason right there is the reason why he went to Brooklyn. Because he could have easily stayed in Golden State, but that's the reason why he went to Brooklyn.
Yeah, so you look at his legacy. He's got what, 2 championships?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's got 2 championships. A couple years, nobody's even going to pay that stuff any attention. He's got his championships. You know, so you have guys now that are a lot smarter with and strategic with how they go ahead and get a championship. Mm-hmm. Like you look at Kyrie. Kyrie's got his championship. He's like, yo, I'm good. I'll go do what I got to do. Guys weren't doing that before.
Okay. No, I mean, I get it. I get it. So,
could you imagine Weber would have teamed up with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade?
I mean, by that time he was old.
No, I'm talking about in his prime.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy, and they'd probably win a championship.
Yeah, they would have won. Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean, but it still would have been different because it would have been LeBron, then D Wade, then Chris Webber. I don't know if because Bosh is, I think his defense is really underrated. He played really good defense. But to say that Bosch couldn't play in like the era that Weber played in, like in the 90s.
No, Bosch could have played in the 90s.
It's just like the game is so different. It was so different when he got drafted. Like the league was like changing. It was like the way the league was being played was changing in 03.
Okay, and he adapted really well to the way that the league was changing. The Chris Bosh that was in Toronto is a totally different Bosh that we saw in Miami. And a lot of that, he had to change his game to start shooting threes, to start, shooting jump shots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Weber had a lot of those attributes, but again, he played in a different era to where it was like, yo, you get on the block. What I mean? Really, honestly, he could dribble, he could do everything, but he played in that era to where it's like, nah, you on the block, you're the big man. That's where you're at. If he would have been able to stretch out and play with LeBron and play with Wade, oh my God.
All right. So was winner of the week, Tom? Who you got?
Got Mike Gundy. Okay. You know who that is?
Yeah, the coach for Oklahoma State, Oregon State. One of them.
So he's my winner of the week because pretty much he said that he's going to bring his players back, and that he's going to bring his players back, and they're young and they're healthy and they don't have to worry about the coronavirus. And I just thought it was probably one of the most ignorant things I've heard this week. I've heard a lot of ignorant stuff, but it was like, dude, number one, you're a college coach, you're a leader of men. How does that inspire anybody to want your son to play for somebody like that is so bullheaded that they can't even think past player safety? And it was just like, what rock are you sleeping under? Like, nobody's going to let you bring back football. So
what was his – so he means like for workouts or something? Like, what is he saying?
He's going to open the gym back up and get the program started.
Like right now?
Yeah. Yeah, in May. He's going to bring everybody back.
In May? Just like that, right? Just like
he's going to bring everybody back.
Even though no one could be on like campuses and be in the gym. All right. He got it like that? No. So first of all, that's irresponsible. As a leader of young men, he should know better. He's the one that needs to look out for their well-being. So yes, that some of the kids, they should probably be working out on their own, but to not take this virus seriously, because ultimately that's what he's doing. He's not taking it seriously, and he's doing a disservice to not only himself but to his program and the kids.
Yeah, no,
and I don't think their parents would let him. Will let them even attend.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people, man. The more we're closed in, it's saying dumb and doing dumb stuff. And I mean, each week I get a winner. I mean, it was just like, wow, I was just scrolling through it. I was like, this guy, really, like. So, what are your thoughts, man? This kind of shift subject. Did you hear about what Dana White is doing?
About the UFC and going on the island?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's gonna be interesting how he does this because you're gonna have to get people tested before and probably after, and I don't know. He hasn't disclosed what island, but it'll probably be one of the Samoan islands.
No, it's some island off of California.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm not mad at it because honestly, we need something new to watch. We need something to watch, but I think that he'll definitely get the ratings. People are gonna watch it, and
people are bored out of their mind.
Yeah, I think people are gonna watch it. People just want some sort of sports, because this was one of the worst WrestleManias, like as a whole, mainly because they didn't have a crowd. So UFC without a crowd is gonna look like WWE without a crowd. It's gonna be weird, and it's almost gonna look like you're watching somebody spar, you know.
And that's what concerns me about basketball games played without a crowd, because they were talking about that. I think we talked about it a little bit last week. Is it looked like a scrimmage?
You know, I honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing basketball without a crowd, because these guys are like super athletes, and one, you'll hear more of the trash talking. You'll hear that the crowd noise ain't gonna drown that out. So you'll hear Russell Westbrook and whoever going at it, you know, with the trash talk, and I think that'll be they can't play in the same arenas, obviously, but the smaller arenas, maybe even if it's like the practice facilities of a team or a central location, but I can deal with that more than like UFC or boxing without the crowd, because you kind of like feed off. I mean, I know these athletes feed off the crowd as well, so it's like it's gonna be tough.
So I could do UFC without a crowd. I think WWE, like you mentioned, the crowd is what draws that inspiration a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's ultimately, I mean, I ain't gonna say fake, but it is, it's entertainment.
Entertainment, yeah.
The crowd plays into what they're doing. UFC, you're just watching a fight. You know what I mean? Like they're really hitting each other. They're really getting it in. So and the angles that they capture with the UFC, I'm not sure they even capture a lot of the crowd. You know, so
in UFC, yeah,
it's not going to be that different. Excuse me. As far as the basketball is concerned, maybe it'll look like a summer league game.
Yeah, well, but the last like the last 3 years, the summer league games look like regular season NBA games. It's picked up.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What are your thoughts about the draft, man? This year, what they're trying to do with that?
It's going to be virtual. They're going to do it how we're doing off the record, and it's going. I mean, so I read this morning that that they did like almost like a mock where they got rid of all the issues that they think will happen with the draft. And I don't think you can simulate that, because if somebody's internet goes out, then their internet goes out, or if somebody's internet started buffering, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, but I think it could work because they have phones, so you can call your pick in, and still get your pick in that specified time. It's gonna, just like everything else, you're gonna have to adjust to what's going on. So yeah, you may not have as much film on some of these. I mean, and you should have the film. You just don't have you don't have your pro day workout information. You don't have the physicals of these guys. So I mean, you have to roll with whatever punches that you have and make your picks how you got to make your picks.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, everybody would just adjust. I mean, at first I was like, oh yeah, teams are going to be at a disadvantage, but like anything, I mean, as long as it's a level playing field where you weren't properly working out people, or you don't have an advantage. I mean, it's a level playing field, and you just got to make what to do.
So the part that I don't really agree with is not opening up the facilities for these like the war rooms for these different teams, and I think that, I mean, even if you have them at a hotel room, what's the difference between them being in a banquet facility than being at their own facility where everything is being done. I mean, it's only going to be them in the facility. So I think that they should be able to get into their facilities to do the draft. I really don't.
So let me ask you this: how would coverage work?
As far as what?
Like network coverage.
I mean, so everybody's gonna be home. It's from what I've read, everybody's gonna be home. But so who's hosting? ESPN, right? It's on ESPN and NFL Network. They'll probably have 2 people in the studio, maybe 4 in the studio, and just it'll look like Sports Center or something like that. And the teams are be, like, if it's the Dolphins pick, they'll be showing them remotely, and that's my assumption. I mean, that makes the most sense. So everything is all jacked up right now, man, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for the kids in the draft, the teams not being able to really work these guys out to see if they're the guy that they want. And you pretty much going off of telephone calls, film, if the kids are working out, or them sending the team's film of them working out. That's pretty much all you can do. And at this point, I don't know if that's enough to really make your decision.
It's going to have to be. But again, like I said, everybody's on a level playing field and everybody's dealing with it. So, teams are just going to have to adjust, man.
So Tom Brady had an interview this morning on Howard Stern today or yesterday, and he said a couple things about he's never been concerned about legacy, and the 2 things that stuck out to me was he was never concerned about legacy, and he didn't and he knew he was pretty much going to leave at the start of this past season. How do you feel about those things?
Okay, so I could buy that he wasn't concerned with legacy just by the way he plays. I think a lot of your just greats, like I don't think Michael Jordan was ever worried about his legacy. I think Tom Brady, I think like when you're that zoomed in on being the best, you're that competitive, you're not concerned with, okay, I'm going to look bad if I go to another team, or I should do this because it's better for how I will be perceived 5 years from now. And when he kind of cleared it up with, he didn't start his career with thinking about legacy. He's always played with that chip on his shoulder. So I think like when you develop that underdog mentality of I just want to be the best, you're not ever concerned with what everybody thinks. I mean, because if you look at it, all right, so what's Tom Brady's age? He's 41.
43 or 42. He's 42, about to turn 43.
Right. So most people would say, like, you've accomplished everything that you could accomplish as a quarterback. Why are you still playing? You have the opportunity to go to Tampa and stink up the joint. You know what I mean? I don't think that would happen, but most people would be scared or concerned, like, okay, well, I've never played without Bill Belichick. Let me just bow out as a Patriot, retire.
Right.
I'm 43, so nobody's going to, like, really say anything to me. But he's like, you know what? Heck, I still want to play football. I still got the passion. I'm going to go out there and play. So I do buy that he's not concerned with his legacy. And then the other question you said, the Bill Belichick.
No, well, he knew that he was gonna leave at the beginning of the 2019 season.
I buy that. I think at some point, well, he said during contract negotiations, he kind of knew Nam because the contract negotiations didn't go well. And I think at some point they probably told him, like, hey, look, we're not going to commit to this dollar amount because we feel like that you should be done playing and we're not going to pay you. You know, and I think that he just said, you know what, screw it. You know, I mean, I deserve everything that I want because he's built the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. He's part him and I you know, you don't have the Patriots without Tom Brady. You don't have them without Bill Belichick. I think they're tied to the hip forever. No matter what happens, his time in Tampa, and no matter what happens with the Patriots going forward, those guys are tied to the hip. And I don't think you win all those Super Bowls without Tom Brady. I don't think you win all those Super Bowls without Bill Belichick. So,
You wouldn't.
yeah, and so I think that this narrative that people are trying to draw with saying that who was more responsible for the Super Bowls and the success of the Patriots, you can't. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, or Bill. It doesn't matter how you say their names and in what order. The two of them combined are the ones that are responsible for those 6 championships and those 9 Super Bowl appearances.
Yeah, I think he kind of he said it. Neither one of them could do each other's job.
Right.
And when you look at Bill Belichick, like he had success before Tom Brady was there. Maybe he wasn't so much of a head coach, but you know, he had some championships as an assistant. Yeah, I just totally agree. I think like their names are synonymous,
Right.
And they'll forever be linked. I do think Bill Belichick is going to have a harder time without Tom Brady.
We'll see. So their defense is still pretty good. I want to know who's going to be their starting quarterback. If they get Jacoby Brissett, they won 12 games this year, but if they get Jacoby Brissett, they can still win that division. They can still get to the playoffs, and that ultimately that's your goal, is to win a division, get to the playoffs, and go from there. But
see, I think they're going to struggle this year. I think
I don't think. Okay, yeah. They may struggle. It really depends on who they pick up, because their offense was terrible last year because the lack of receivers. You know, Rob Gronkowski, they was in transition mode because Gronkowski had just retired. He was the go-to guy, and Edelman. But they need to regroup. And this is probably the draft to pick up a receiver, because there's some really, really good receivers in this draft. There's also again, they have a good defense. And yeah, Buffalo did all right last year, but let's not put all our eggs on the Buffalo basket. Yes, Miami spent a lot of money in this offseason, but let's hold our horses and let Miami not be the Miami of the past. And the Jets are the Jets. It is what it is with the Jets. So they're in good shape to still win the division. They're going to be top 2 in the division. I'm not going to just go out there and just say, oh, the Bills are going to run away with the division.
No, I wouldn't be prepared to say that. I mean, because the Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Bills. But I will leave you with this. It's 2 players on the all-decade team. Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski. That's really tough to replace.
No, I agree. I agree.
That's a lot of talent. And I think no matter who you are, I mean, it was like the Lakers when Kobe Bryant decided to retire before they got LeBron. When you lose that star franchise player, it's a tough void. I mean, look at Jordan and the Bulls. I mean, yeah, you had Scottie Pippen there, but it's a tough void when you have a
Amen.
magnitude.
The Bulls should have been in the championship the very next year. They got robbed, and we all know it.
But watching the Bulls,
they won 56 games.
But watching them, it was different. It
was different because Jordan wasn't there, but it wasn't different to the fact that, oh, these guys are struggling. They didn't struggle to get to 56 wins.
Well, I think the Patriots are going to struggle.
No, look, they're going to take some steps back. They're don't have a Scottie Pippen on that team.
No,
They don't have
nobody in line.
Yeah,
like,
so
you're not going to dress me up with these backup quarterbacks that nobody has heard of, and think that you're going to get the same production as Tom Brady. No.
I mean, well, here's the thing, Scott. When Tom Brady was coming in for Drew Bledsoe, that's not who we was expecting to see. What we see in the last 15, 20 years is not what we was expecting when he went in the 6th round in the draft.
I'm gonna tell you how sports works. It's lightning in the bottle. You never know.
Absolutely.
You never know. So you are correct. We didn't know that Tom Brady was going to be the player that he is, but Tom Brady is regarded as the greatest quarterback of all time. It's going to be a drop off because you don't have Aaron Rodgers replacing a Brett Favre, or Steve Young replacing a Joe Montana, or you may have it, and we just don't know. I just don't think any of those guys are that backup that you really have in the wings where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna let that guy go because I got somebody else, or that Prescott replacing Tony Romo. Like you don't have that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Am I?
Yeah, and we don't know yet. We don't like you said. We don't know. He may come out and throw for 4,000 yards next year. Stidham or whoever. We don't know. But I think that if they win 10 games after losing Tom Brady, that season is a success. Because I think 10 wins in the AFC East will get you in the playoffs. I mean, it's gonna be tougher. Like, they're definitely gonna struggle to follow.
So this is where I look at it. You'll probably agree with me. Whatever it is, Bill Belichick is not budging. And what I mean by that is he didn't panic and go out there and get Jameis Winston. He didn't panic and go out there and
not yet.
Andy Dalton. So he does have probably a succession plan. Either he thinks one of those guys that he has on his roster is good enough, or he's got his eye on a couple people in the draft that he's like, okay, I'm about to pull a power move. Now, this is where I'm at with that. I agree. Maybe he does have something up his sleeve. I just think when he reaches up his sleeve, that handkerchief won't be there. And it's going to be ugly.
So what's happening? What we're seeing right now is we're going to get like the second wave of free agents. Okay. The teams are waiting for the draft. So what kind of course, coronavirus screwed up a lot of things. But you're gonna see guys like Winston, Andy Dalton, Jacoby Brissett, Jadeveon Clowney. You're gonna see a lot of those guys. Cam Newton, all of those guys, those 5 guys that I just named. The draft is gonna be in a couple weeks, and within the next week and a half after that, you're gonna see those 5 guys signed. Because a lot of teams are gonna know the direction that they're going in. So if Bill Belichick, he's definitely going to draft a quarterback, but if he doesn't get the quarterback that he's really looking for, then he's gonna sign an Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton is the one that he probably would get. Jameis Winston, I could see going to Pittsburgh, and Cam, I still think he's going to go to the Chargers. But don't be surprised if excuse me, don't be surprised if he makes a trade draft day and goes after Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, like I said, he got something up his sleeve. Mm-hmm. I think Matt Stafford will probably be a really good fit with the Patriots. Yeah. I just don't. I don't see it. I mean, he's going because in addition to having to get a quarterback, that offense sucks. It's a good defense, mm-hmm. but he's got a lot of development. That cupboard in New England is I'm not gonna say it's bare, but he had a lot of talent in there.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out. He listen.
If anybody could do it, he could. Right. I just ain't seeing it. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree. I think he can do it. Will he? excuse me, time will tell. But
Who has the better record, Tampa or the Patriots?
Well, Tampa's schedule is really tough, and they're in a tough division. Like that division is loaded with Carolina, New Orleans, and Atlanta. The Patriots still have to play the Jets and the Dolphins 4 times. Who has the better record? Right now, April 8th, I'm going to say Tampa has the better record. But that may change on April 23rd, April 25th after the draft is over. So right now I'm going to say Tampa's going to have the better record.
Yeah, I think we're going to see something similar to what we saw in Denver with Tom Brady and Buccaneers. Or maybe even something similar to what we saw with Brett Favre and the Minnesota Vikings. I think that players, we don't give them enough credit, but like the greats really know, like, nah, yo, they're loaded. This team is stacked. Because you saw it with Peyton Manning, like he knew. It was like, yo, why would you want to play in Denver? But he knew, like, nah, this is the team that, let me get Tim Tebow out of here. This is the team. This is the team that I can rock with. And it was like Tom Brady. He was like, yeah, Jameis sucks. You know what I mean? Let me go down.
Jameis don't suck.
He don't suck, but I'm just saying, in Tom Brady's mind, he was just like, yo, hey, look, I'm coming through. I'm coming through. Go ahead and take a seat, buddy.
Well, we're going to see. So you got Tampa having a better record?
Yeah, I got Tampa.
Do you have them winning the division?
It's tough. It is a tough division. You got Atlanta that's good every other year. So they'll be better this year. I think Carolina will take a step back with Teddy Bridgewater. You got Drew Brees, Emmanuel Sanders. That was a huge pickup for him.
You gotta make a decision.
I still take the Saints.
You got the Saints. All right.
I got the Saints in that division.
I don't think the Saints are going to win a division. I don't know who's going to win it, but I think it's going to be between Atlanta and Tampa. And I'm leaning towards Atlanta because for whatever reason, they didn't lose a lot. They added Gurley.
I think that's going to be huge. Them adding Ty Gurley.
Yeah,
they'll be good.
I think their defense is going to be good. And Dan Quinn knows if he doesn't win this year, he's going to get fired. I think I'm leaning, and they got the new jersey. I mean, I know Tampa got their new uniforms too. They got their new uniforms. I'm leaning to, and I think Matt Ryan has I can't say breakout year because he's won an MVP, but I think Matt Ryan has a huge year. Julio Jones has a huge year because a lot of people have been kind of doubting him and saying that he's not the best. He's going to want to stake his claim as the best receiver in the game. I'm going with Atlanta, man. I'm going with Atlanta.
So that's an interesting question. I was looking at the all-decade team, and, they had some good receivers. Fitzgerald, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, and it was Calvin Johnson, I believe.
Yeah.
Who's the best receiver on that list?
It's probably Antonio Brown, man. Antonio Brown might be the best one. He runs the best routes out of all of those guys. Well, maybe not better route running than Larry Fitzgerald, but he runs really, really good routes, and he can play in the slot. He can play on the outside. I'm going to go with Antonio Brown.
See, I go with Calvin Johnson. I mean, you really can't go wrong. I don't want to say that was a trick question because it wasn't a trick question, but it definitely it's one of them like you could have answered either.
Yeah.
You could have went either way. I mean, I can't beat you up for saying Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown is a bad boy.
Yeah. My biggest issue with that list. There wasn't no Drew Brees.
Over Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, though.
I mean, why wasn't there 3 quarterbacks? Most teams have 3 quarterbacks, and then I was thinking about 10. Then I was thinking
it
about
was a lot of linemen. It was a lot of linemen on that list.
Yeah, I was like, golly. And then I was even thinking Peyton Manning, because that was from, what was it, from 2010 to 2019, and I mean, Peyton Manning broke the league record during that time. He won the Super Bowl. I mean, even though the year he won the Super Bowl, he wasn't that great. But Tom Brady wasn't that great when he won that last Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, I'm talking about. But
so who do you take? All right, so you're saying take off Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I don't know if you take off a quarterback. I would have to have the list in front of me, but you probably maybe Peyton Manning shouldn't be on there. I don't know, but I know Drew Brees at least should have been on there.
So what I got to do is I got to go back and look and see if Peyton Manning made the 2000s decade.
Oh, he better been the starter.
Yeah, so that might have been part of the reason why he didn't make, because what Peyton Manning retired, what was that, 2015?
16, I believe it was.
So he retired
right after they won the Super Bowl. So that was the Super Bowl was in 16, but it was the 15 season.
Right. So I guess the argument is he didn't play the whole decade.
Neither did Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson played less than Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Okay. You got a point there, but Calvin Johnson was so dominant.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Patrick Willis. It looked like he barely got on. They had his name last, but he was dominant.
Yeah, in his time. Yeah, so I mean that's an argument that we can have.
What do you think about the running backs, though?
It was Gore was on there. I think Gore should have been on there. I mean, who were the running backs again? It was LaShawn McCoy, Frank Gore, Adrian Peterson, and Marshawn Lynch. It was 4 of them, right?
No, it was one more. I'm missing one.
You sure? But
was it was Sproles in the flex? It was somebody.
Sproles was in the flex, yeah. And that was perfect. I mean, I think you have him there.
So a lot of argument, should there have been a flex or a fullback?
A flex. I mean, you could have had a fullback, but it's only like 2 fullbacks in the league, and they both like all pros. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, no fullback.
No fullback. No fullbacks don't get no love. Okay.
Fullbacks.
I mean, it's understood though. A lot of teams will run a double tight end set, or like you said, they'll run a flex. So that position, it just really depends.
I think and in the last 10 years, you didn't really have fullbacks like that. The 49ers had a fullback. What is his name? Oh shoot.
Start with Jay.
Yeah, he was. I mean, and then I think the Ravens. So I mean, it was like 2 or 3 fullbacks running around the league, and it was like, they're gonna make the Pro Bowl for fullback because nobody else. Some teams don't even carry a fullback now.
Yeah, it just all depends on what you do.
And if you're a fullback, you're either gonna be a fat running back or a tight end. You're not gonna play fullback, or you're gonna be a lineman. You're not gonna be a fullback anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but I mean, that's just the way it is.
So you have convinced me, though. They should have had 3 quarterbacks. Put Drew Brees on.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
You convinced me. Nah,
thanks. I mean, and they had how many people total? It was 55 or 53. I think it was 55 people.
Yeah. No, they could have added Drew.
You could have added Drew Brees, man. He broke.
And some people would make the argument that Drew Brees
over Aaron Rodgers.
Over Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, neither one of them won a. Well, Aaron Rodgers won his Super Bowl. What they won their Super Bowls back to back, if I'm not mistaken.
So Drew Brees won his. I want to say 9.
09 and Aaron Rodgers, I think, in 10.
Or actually, it was Drew Brees in 10. It was the 9 season, but Super Bowl played in 10.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Rodgers got the next one. So that might have been what nudged him out.
Yeah, I got light now.
Yeah, hey, they cut the lights on like it's time to go on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Time to get out of here, boy.
I was like, man, I was trying to use the natural light, and it was just like, all right, now I'm just getting darker and darker and whatever. But yeah, man, let's get out of here. And another week, another week of quarantine vibes. I'm telling you, I'm gonna figure out how to play the music. I'm gonna figure it out.
That's the last hurdle. You figure out play the music.
I got the intro. I got part of the intro.
In there.
I got part of the intro.
You figure out how to play the music. We got to talk about a few things.
Hey man, but yeah, man, another week, another episode. We had 144. Just an FYI for anybody that doesn't know. That's 144 episodes. That's a lot. That's a lot of sports talking, and that's a lot of
absolutely.
Everything. So we ain't gonna stop. No little coronavirus ain't gonna stop us from doing what we got to do. Yeah, man. So I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, it's a wrap, man.
Oh, wait. Before we go, well, anything new you watching that people need to know? Anything new? You got to watch the joint online, the Lovecast.video.
Okay,
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. But what you got? What you watching, man?
So last episode, somebody had tagged in and put Ozark.
Ozark, right?
So I started binge watching Ozark. So I'm on the last episode of season 1.
I'm gonna start this week.
Yeah. So now shout out to whoever put that out on the show. I think it might have been your cousin or whatnot. But I said something else to binge watch. So
I want to watch the Malcolm X documentary. I'm gonna watch that. Huh?
See, you behind, brother.
I know, man.
You behind.
I know.
Get on that X.
Did you watch? You said you finished watching All American.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. What else? So Ozark.
I'm just on the Ozark right now, man.
All right. So because all I did this past week was catch up on this season of Chicago PD, and I missed a few episodes of SVU. So I made sure I caught up on those joints.
So Chicago PD is next. Everybody keeps talking about that. So I gotta get on.
Chicago PD they like 7 seasons in. So, but
I gotta get on it. Everybody keeps telling me like, nah, it's good.
And shout out to I see Justin just joined us real quick. What up, Just? His birthday. Happy birthday to you, Just. You know, I know your birthday was the other day. I know you were you're a Yankees fan.
Ain't Justin Rouse, is it?
Nah, it's not Justin Rouse. That's just.
Oh, just. Okay.
Virginia State just. But yeah, man. So I'm
Rouse.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, y'all was in Iraq together. I forgot.
Yeah, that's my brother from another mother, man.
So yeah. So I'm gonna get up on Ozark, man.
Get up on it, man. But all right, man, I'm about to get out of here, man.
All right, man. Go tend to your baby, man.
Hey, I gotta do it.
All right, man. Get out of here.
All right, peace.
Man, Just, I know what your last name is, man. Be out, man. I'm hanging up.